out there. Thanks so much for tuning into this episode of Coda Country Chats. You're here today listening to our new artist named Haley. How are you, Haley?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing so well. Thanks so much for coming on the show today. Listeners out there, Haley has a new single out called Whiskey Girl that released on February the 1st. Haley, tell me a little bit about that single. I know that you have two writers on that, Bo Bailey and Cole Miracle. So tell me about how the song made its way to you.
Yeah, so we started the idea at my house. I had just gotten back from a music festival I was working at, and it was in Sacramento, California. And when I got to my hotel, they gifted me a free bottle of whiskey. And the
Oh,
whiskey of it, the name of it was called, I think, JJ Pfizer, Fister, Pfizer.
hmm
I'm not really sure how to pronounce it. But long story short, I never really drank whiskey before, but I told them about that, and I was like, yeah, I guess I'm a whiskey girl now. And they were like, okay, that's a pretty cool idea. Guess I'm a whiskey girl now. So we started writing, and next thing you know, Whiskey Girl was born. All started from a free bottle of whiskey, funny enough.
well, okay, so that actually sparked a little question when I was listening to the track. What is your drink of choice? Like, do you have a preferred whiskey now that you're a whiskey
um,
drinker now?
yes, so I have a lot, but I really do love Jack Daniels, Tennessee Honey, or
Oh, yes.
just Jack and Coke Zero.
Yeah, I love that. No, just I feel like there's nothing that beats a good crisp Coke, Jack and Coke. You know what I mean? Oh my
I
gosh,
know,
I'm
it's
with
just
you
a
there.
classic. Such a classic. But I do
That's
love a good old
right.
fashioned though too. Old fashions are definitely my go-to when I'm going to the
Oof.
bar or something, and I'm like, I just need a really strong drink. I don't want to spend too much money tonight, so I'm just gonna get an old fashioned.
And I swear you can tell a lot by about a bar by how good their old fashioned is. Like if it's just
That
tasting
is
like,
very
ugh,
true.
you know what I mean?
Very
I don't
true.
know. That's
It's
wild.
it's hard to find a bar in Nashville that actually makes them pretty good, but I'm not gonna lie, Live Oak does make a pretty good old fashioned over there.
We love Live Oak. Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Going back to the song, I got on a tangent. Okay. So when you decided to record this one, would you say that there's like any underlying like love interest that kind of goes along with um the effect of the recording process? Do you think like there was also kind of something
Um,
like influencing you there too?
truthfully, I did not have a boyfriend at the time. And there really wasn't, for the first time ever, funny enough, because most of the time when I'm writing love songs, there is always a guy that inspires it. But no, this time
Right.
it really just was just shooting at the hip. I didn't have anybody in mind when I wrote this, and it wasn't about anyone. It just kind of came together with Cole and Bo. And when I sat on that song for a long time, by the way, it took me probably a year and a half to finally be like, okay, I'm putting it out, I'm gonna record it. So
Oh wow.
it's been a long time coming for Whiskey Girl.
Nice. Well, she is here and she is out and playing and streaming. I just saw, I think on your Instagram story, she's already got like 8,000 streams in the first weekend. So
Yes, I
congrats.
haven't even. Thank you. I haven't even checked it this morning, but I have a feeling it's going to get closer to 10K, which is crazy because that's the biggest I've ever had a song streamed like this fast.
Whoa! Oh my gosh, that's
Yeah,
incredible. Yay!
yeah.
That's so
I'm
cool to
very
hear
I'm
though,
very
because like
grateful.
I've always wondered how like the streaming, um, what am I trying to say? Like how fast a song is streamed. Because I know like when I've talked to other artists in the past, they'll be like, I've released this song like 2 years ago, and then finally it's getting like all these streams like all at once. But it seems like
Yeah,
this one is hitting pretty quickly and with a lot of
yeah.
people
Right off the
pretty
bat.
fast. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's got to be encouraging. How awesome.
it
Okay,
is. It,
so
it really is.
yeah, I'm gonna go back into your discography a little bit and talk about some of your releases from September of 2023 with Southern Boys and Over Sad Songs. Now, listening
Yeah.
to both of those, they're pretty contrasting. Tell me about your idea to release those together in what I found on Spotify is kind of how I found that. But yeah, go ahead.
So, funny trick of the trade that actually they were not released together. Over Sad Songs came out before Southern Boys, but there's this thing you
Yeah.
can do now called waterfalling a project. So you can, when you put it out, you can go on your distributor and then you can put the song that you had previously out waterfalled from the next one. So it just gives it more streams. So Over Sad Songs came out earlier that year. And I was kind of
Oh.
at a different, I was at a different phase of life because all last year I was dealing with a breakup from the year before. So I was going through a
Ugh.
lot of different
Mhm.
things and a lot of different timelines of healing and coming back to the hatred for that guy. And then the, oh, well, who cares? On to next, on to Southern Boys. He wasn't even a Southern boy. On to the next. Like, it was just was such an interesting time in my life, not even going to lie. So the contrast between them, yeah, it just happened to be the timeline of what I was going through at the time.
Interesting. And isn't that like so poignant to, I guess, how we feel in relationships and in breakups. Like in 1 minute you can be completely fine and just be like, next one, here we go, let's go have a
Yeah.
fun night out. And then here we
Yeah.
go, like 2 minutes later, and you're like crying in the bathroom, and it's
Yeah,
terrible.
and it's so funny because when I wrote over sad songs last year, like on New Year's Day, and I was like, I'm over this guy. I'm totally done. Then that song ended up being put out, I think, in May or June, somewhere around there. And then when that song came out, everybody's like, "Yeah, you're finally over him. We're over sad songs." And I was like, in the back of my mind, I was like, I'm not really though, and they have no idea. I
Right.
just played it
You know,
off. I just played it off.
it's so funny that you just told me about New Year's Day. Have you ever heard this like I don't know if it's like a superstition or an old wives' tale or whatever, but it's like if you do something on the first day of the year, it's something that's going to stay with you, or it's something that you're going to continue
Sets
to
the
do.
tone. Yep.
Yes, like for the rest of the year. And I wonder if that's
Yep.
like, since you wrote the song, if it's just like kind of the
Obviously
impact of.
not. Obviously it didn't because on New Year's Day I was like, oh, well, our anniversary was New Year's, so that was like really hard for me to go through. And then on New Year's Day I told my co-writers about it. I was like, yeah, I was kind of struggling last night. Anyways, let's write a song about how I'm over him and over sad songs. And
Yeah.
yeah, a couple months later it still hit me. I was like, why did I write this? Why did I put this song out and I don't feel like this at all?
But I mean, maybe it was like you were trying to feel that way. You were trying to get over him
Yeah.
and trying to get over all the sad stuff that's happening. And I don't know, you're trying to manifest it. We'll say it like that. But still,
Yeah.
like it's interesting to know that song still came from a place of like, I want to be over him, so I'm gonna write this
Yeah.
and I'm gonna be like, yeah, this is at you. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know?
But hey, 1 year later, I'm fully healed over here, and I can actually listen to that song and actually really enjoy it and feel it with
That's
my whole heart and
right.
soul now.
That makes me happy for you, friend. Oh my gosh. Ooh. Okay. So let me talk to you a little bit more about where you're from, because I hear your wonderful accent. I also have an accent. It comes out more, I think, when I talk with friends who have accents. So
Yep.
in reading a little bit about you on your Instagram and some of your bio stuff, I saw that you're from like Missouri, Arkansas. Tell me about your background a little bit from
Yeah. So I'm a true grit Ozarks gal, is what they say. Yeah. So I grew up on the state line of Missouri and Arkansas. Arkansas was 5 minutes away, and kind of got the best of both worlds with that. When it depends on who I'm talking to, also where they're
there.
closer to and their kind of backgrounds of life. And I'll be like, yeah, I'm from Missouri too. Or, oh, yeah, I'm from Arkansas too. It just depends on who I'm talking to most of the times. But growing up there wasn't a lot to do. Population 2,000. And most people were partying and most people were like highly involved with sports and all that. And I didn't really fall into those categories. I kind of was a little bit of a lone wolf with the whole music thing because there was just a handful of people at my school that even played a guitar. So it was very
Oh wow.
rare to find other people that shared the love of music as with me as well. But I grew up with older brothers that had a band and they had band practice all the time when I was like 6, 7 years old. So I kind of
Cool.
grew up around music and it was just at home. It was just my family. So I had an older brother. He's the middle child. He came to Nashville and he became a songwriter and he's highly successful. He's got like I think a
Cool.
handful of number one songs he's written for country artists. So I saw him
Wow.
do that and I thought, well, the apple can't fall far from the tree. So I'm going too. And then my mom was like, oh God, here we go. Kid number two going to Nashville trying to figure out that crazy business. And long story short, I'm here 5 years later.
5 years later. Oh my gosh. So okay. Following in your brother's footsteps. See, I didn't know anything about your brothers. That's amazing. Um,
Yeah,
do
not
you
a lot of
guys
people
work?
really know that we're related.
Yeah, that's inside take there. Tell me, do you work together with your brother a lot?
Yes,
How does that work?
actually, here recently. So we're 6 years apart in age, and it's been kind of hard
Oh,
for. And he's a boy, and I'm a girl, and it's two different worlds, and so we've had a kind of a difficult time trying to relate to passive life. But now that
yeah.
I'm getting older, I'm getting to the 24 mark. I'll be 24 in March. Now that I'm getting older, I feel like it's easier for us to communicate and not fight so much. Because hey, we are brother and
Yeah.
sister. But we actually recently have been working together, and we do have some rights coming up together. So I'm very grateful for that too, because I've always looked up
Hey.
to him. I'll never tell him that though, but I do. I look up to my brother a lot, and I do think it is an honor to have him as a brother, and that I finally actually am starting to work with him and get to work with him in the future.
That's precious though, because okay, so I'm a mom and I have a daughter and a son. And they're 2 years apart, so not as far as an age gap there. But like I've always
It's
wondered
all the
like
same though.
how
It's
siblings
all the
getting along. You
same.
know what I mean? Yeah. They're gonna
Yeah.
bite the same, they're gonna
Yeah.
I've,
Yep. It's all
I've
the
always
same.
wondered that like how is it to work with a sibling and so I'm glad that you shared that with me because I think, that sounds like there's hope for
Yeah,
siblings out there to get
there
along
is.
and
When you get
and make
older,
some
when you get
magic.
older, yeah, when you get older, it all starts to, everybody's starting to have kids. Like he's got another kid on the way. He had a kid 2 years ago, and he's starting to get more like in dad mode, and he's all chill. And I'm like, I'm getting older. I don't feel the need to yell at my big brother when I feel like I want to be right about something. So it gets easier as time goes on.
That's precious. Oh man. Okay, I'm gonna shift gears a little bit. Um, Also in looking through lots of things about you, I saw that you also have like a modeling contract with. Tell me about the modeling agency that you work with.
Yeah, so actually, when I first moved to Nashville, I always had a dream of being a model too because I'm almost 5'10". Like I'm a very tall girl.
Wow,
And
beautiful.
I kind of grew up loving a lot of models, like people who even acted really. I just loved like Lily Collins and all the girls with the big eyebrows and the pretty hair and the Victoria's Secret girls. I just grew up loving them, and of course, I didn't know anything about modeling. I grew up in a small town population 2000. The only knowledge I had was just watching YouTube videos and trying to figure out how the modeling world even worked. But when I got to
Yeah.
Nashville, I went to an open call with my now agency called Amex. They used to
Amen.
have open calls on Thursdays, and I walked in there and I didn't know anything about what the modeling world was about, but I kind of basically just walked in there. I was like, "Can I have a deal?" And they're like, "Oh, let's get your measurements. Let's take some pictures." And then by the grace of God, 3 months later, they sent me a contract in my email. So that actually worked out. So, sometimes I guess just being too forward can get you where you want to be.
I mean, I see no problem in being straightforward with what you want and what you're going after.
Yeah.
I think that's just the best way to be. Wow. Oh my gosh. And I'm sure being a little bold like that is probably something they were like, oh, this girl, oh, she's
Yeah,
different
they
from the
probably
ones
were
that we've
like,
seen today.
they probably were thinking she doesn't realize that we have to offer her something. She can't just ask to be here. And I really didn't know. I just thought that those open calls were like, here I am, I'm ready.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
I didn't
Take me, here I
understand that
go.
you had to like be scouted and stuff. I didn't have the concept down, but it worked out, so it's all good.
That's right. That's really cool to hear because I've always wondered that. Like even in the music industry, I'm still kind of baffled sometimes about like how people are discovered, and I feel like models are kind of the same way. Like sometimes it's
Yeah.
all about who you know, and then sometimes it's just about being at the right place at the right time. And
It's very
yeah,
true, and it's very rare for agencies to have open calls. Like, I don't even know if Amax does that anymore. I think they just mostly scout online. But yeah,
uh-huh.
back in the day, you could just walk up in there on Thursdays and have your pictures and measurements taken, and then you're out, and then you'd get offering or you wouldn't. But now they don't really do
Right.
that much with agencies anymore. It's all like online scouting.
Yeah, I guess after COVID and all the virtual stuff started happening, everybody's like done this big shift of, we
Yeah,
can do this all
yeah,
online, do a video or do whatever, whatever. You know?
yeah, for
Huh.
sure.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay, so one more thing that I kind of researched about. Runaway Cowboy. That's a
Oh
project,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And
That
all the songs that you've kind of
but
released so far, are they kind of attributing to that? Tell me about Runaway Cowboy.
So Runaway Cowboy, this is a wild story, honestly. I was back home in Arkansas,
Yeah.
and I was sitting on the couch scrolling through TikTok, and weirdly enough, I heard this melody in my head. And I don't really play piano. I'm not a piano player. I played a little when I grew up, but I'm not a master of it for sure. And I
Yeah.
run to the back room in the guest room where the piano is, and I start playing this melody that came to me just out of nowhere. And I voice memoed it, and I started singing the Runaway Cowboy line. And then 3 days later, I took it to my session with my co-writer producer, Stone Eiley.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, this is wild, but I have an idea that kind of just came to me out of nowhere. I showed it to him, and he's like, wow, that's beautifully haunting. Let's do it.
Ooh.
So we sat down, we wrote Runaway Cowboy. We didn't even finish it that day because I was super precise with it. I wanted everything to just be the way that I wanted it to be. And I put it on TikTok like a couple weeks ago just to test the waters because I'm not really used to
Mm,
things taking off. It's the go-to thing when people have a viral moment. They'll be like, well, I didn't really, expect that to take off. But I really didn't because I posted it on my backup. I posted on my backup TikTok account, not even thinking that, it would do what it did. But like fast
right, right,
forward
right.
3 weeks later, it's like at 20,000 views and like over 5,000 people are asking like, when are you putting this out? Like, can we have this? So I have a pre-save link in my bio now. That will be my
Yes.
next release. That should be my next release, but I'm also trying to work on a duet with some other person too. So I got a lot going
Ooh,
on, but I think Runaway Cowboy will be the next single.
nice.
It
Oh
is,
my gosh,
and it
I'm
is
so glad
finished
that I
now.
discovered that too. Because I was looking, well, obviously I had Whiskey Girl on my new Music Friday playlist, but then I was doing more research to find, and then I saw the pre-save link, and I was like, oh, she's got more new music coming out. That's amazing.
Yeah,
So yay, that's exciting to hear. Well, I cannot wait
super
to hear
fun.
that. Oh yeah,
Thank you.
so fun. Yeah. Um, First of all, thanks so much for coming on the call today to talk about all the things you have going on. I can't wait to hear more. And I've loved the stuff that I've already heard from you. That's amazing. Tell me, is
Of course.
there
Thank
anyone
you for
that you'd like
having
to
me.
give oh, yeah. Is there anyone that you'd like to give a shout out to or anything else that you'd like to promote while you're still here?
Um, who do we give a shout out to? Let's give a shout out to Trevor Perkins. If it wasn't for Trevor Perkins, I wouldn't even be here. So shout out to Trevor
Yay!
Perkins. And future things, all we got is Runaway Cowboy. So that's about the best promotion I can give is just go pre-save it.
Yeah. That pre-save link's already in your bio, ready to go, and I'll share it out as soon as we share the episode. Yay!
Thank you.
And shout out to Trevor and Carissa for helping me get in touch with you and
Yeah.
get in contact with you. Definitely. Oh my gosh, this has been wonderful. I can't wait to hear your new songs. Country music listeners out there, make sure you check out Haley on all the socials. Her Instagram handle is at Haley Official. Do you have any more handles that you want to shout out before I before I forget?
They're pretty much all Haley official in some degree. Either a one or a two added at the end or some of those sorts. It's always Haley official.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, you heard it here, country music fans out there. This was Leigh and Haley on this episode of Coda Country Chats. Y'all have a great day.